Hello guys, what is up and welcome to yet another episode of the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. In today's episode we're going to be getting through this little mini dungeon here as well as starting the Shadow Temple, which I believe is the 6th or 7th dungeon in the game, somewhere around there. But yeah, this is pretty linear from here on out. I've heard a lot of people say that the first half of Ocarina of Time is definitely the best half, and then that second half is really rushed feeling, and I'm definitely getting those vibes. I feel they didn't take as much time and care with the second half as they did with the first half. A lot of the stage layout is fairly linear. Each dungeon is pretty linear, honestly. It's just a matter of the quote-unquote difficulty, if you really consider these games to be difficult, because obviously they are Nintendo games, and I don't think Nintendo is too much about the whole difficulty side of things. Although Zelda is essentially Nintendo's Dark Souls, in the aspect that it is exploration based and rewards those who explore, and yeah, that's what I have to say. But yeah, in terms of my YouTube channel, I feel recently I've been wanting to start a new thing, something I do weekly where I just go through some shitty video games and play them. I don't know, it could be something I do weekly, something I do every other day, something like that. One of the first one that comes to mind is Superman 64. Obviously, it's a really hated video game, really bad reviews and scores on Metacritic, and everything. It's just everything's bad about it, and I don't know, that's one of the ones that I'm not interested in playing it, but in terms of content, I feel people would be interested in seeing me suffer through it. That's what I'm getting at here. Because, screw me. Just turn me into a walrus, I guess. Doesn't matter. Why me? Why me? That's a Tusk reference if you guys haven't seen it. I suggest you don't see it. It's honestly pretty disgusting. It's essentially the it's body horror, but in an incredibly fucked up way that it absolutely makes a joke out of it. It's like if the Human Centipede was a comedy movie. It's hard to imagine the Human Centipede as a comedy movie, but Tusk exists, so I don't recommend checking it out, just, for your sake. But, do as you wish. I watched it with a friend, and we kind of just made fun of it the whole time. Because the effects are pretty bad, but it's just a generally fucked up movie. So it's not like anything in it is realistic. None of the gore or body horror that they actually show is realistic at all. It's just an incredibly fucked up plot and fucked up to think about. But oh my gosh, I remember this thing. As soon as I enter here, you guys will be able to see it. Oh my gosh, this is the thing that my friend told me was one of the hardest enemies in the game. Not the spiders, of course. These guys are easy as hell. Alright. Now that I'm done with that, pretty much just climb up here. And enter through this door here. And, oh my gosh, this thing. Now, you guys don't see the full body yet, but even just the hands are absolutely terrifying. Essentially, they grab onto Link so that thing can make its way over to you. I don't think they're that hard to, beat, but just thinking about how fucking terrifying they are. Honestly, I consider myself okay in Ocarina of Time. especially for, playing on emulation. Which I actually did go back and visit the GameCube version of the game that I own physically today. So, yeah. And I was honestly pretty good at it. Like, I went all the way up to Dodongo's Cavern in about 2 hours, which obviously in the Let's Play that took me hell of a lot longer. Of course, it was mainly because I knew what I was doing, but it was also because I was slightly better at the combat, just using an actual controller and not my fucking phone. And man, I'll also say I went back to GoldenEye 64. Man, it's just as bad with the damn like normal N64 controller. Because everyone tells me, play GoldenEye 64, and like I told them, maybe I'll check out the remake. The original has shitty controls through emulation, but like, even just the actual N64 version that I went back to today, it also has pretty shitty controls. So, I mean, yeah. Like, whether or not you guys will get a GoldenEye Let's Play, not NA. I don't really have an answer to that right now. Because, like, I can't find a definitive way to actually control the game. If I can do that much, if I can play the game without interruptions, if I can comfortably play the game with comfortable modern controls on a modern controller, perhaps you guys will get a GoldenEye Let's Play, which of course I've heard the GoldenEye Wii remake is not exactly faithful to the original, but it's pretty much the closest I can give you guys, because I'm not gonna go out of my way to play a game I don't feel comfortable playing, in the aspect that the controls are just overall really terrible. Like, if anything, I was able to operate the controls slightly better through emulation on my phone rather than with the N64 controller. But yeah, this is the item that we came into this mini dungeon to get. And I think it's called the Eye of Truth. Lens of Truth. Lens of Truth. Alright. Close enough. But now we have the Lens of Truth. We can pretty much enter into the Shadow Temple. And like I said, it's fairly linear. Definitely a lot more linear than the Fire Temple and the Water Temple. So, kind of proves just how much they rushed the last portion of this game. And like I said, I think this is like the second to last / third to last temple. So, I don't know. We'll find out how hard or how easy it is. As of the time of recording this, I'm probably about halfway through it. But of course, you guys are going to watch the footage for like up to that point in this episode. Because for those of you who don't know, I don't voice over it as I go. So it's like not necessarily blind Let's Plays. I do I voice over the already recorded and then edited footage. So I record the footage, then I edit all of the footage, I cut out all the deaths and everything, and then I actually go through and voice over the definitive footage, as in the edited video. Because like there will be times where I have like in total like an hour and 30 minutes of content in total, and then like I go through and edit and it brings me down to like 20 to 30 minutes of content. So I'm not gonna sit there, voice over everything as I go, run out of shit to talk about eventually, because I run out of shit to talk about just talking about shit on here, honestly. And every time I mention that I run out of shit to talk about, that's as soon as I start running out of shit to talk about. Like right now. I have nothing to fucking talk about. What a beautiful day outside, am I right? Just, how's the wife and kids, Bill? Who the fuck am I talking to? There is not a singular one person watching this damn video. Who the fuck am I talking to? Damn. Just damn. Am I schizophrenic? I might be. Huh. Oh no, but I did upload, Super Smash Bros. Brawl Part 7. And then that shit got, like, deleted, so I'm gonna have to go back to that. And, replay that whole fucking level. Thankfully, the level in itself is not that long, and plus it's a pretty exciting level, so... yeah. So yeah, the Nocturne of Shadow is going to warp us to the graveyard, right to the entrance of the Shadow Temple. Of course, not yet. We have to use Dean's Fire to get into the Shadow Temple. I just noticed, like, pretty much almost every slot in my inventory is being used. So, I guess that means I'm practically a pro gamer. I'm almost done with Ocarina of Time. And I am the fucking GOAT. Because who else would I be? And Shadow Temple. Look at that. I was a little bit off. Slightly off. But who gives a shit? Alright. Yeah, this whole temple essentially revolves around using that lens of truth that we just got. Honestly, like I said, it's fairly linear. However, like my friend mentioned, like the difficulty, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the difficulty. I'm not seeing the linearity. And he specifically mentioned as an adult, so I assume we have to go back to this as a kid. I don't know. I'm just not seeing the linearity, or I'm not seeing the difficulty, just because of the linearity aspect. So yeah, I mean, whatever like you guys think. If anyone's watching this who you've played Ocarina of Time, just go ahead and let me know. What do you guys think about a Shadow Temple? Is it like easy for you guys, or did you guys struggle a little bit with it? Was it linear enough for you? Like, was it too linear? Because I feel like it kind of strays away from that Zelda vibe where, like, Zelda is supposed to be really linear or non-linear and leave the exploration up to you. But I feel like this temple goes exactly against that idea. And, like, even puzzles, it doesn't focus too much on. It's really just about, having fun and giving you kind of, like, I don't want to, like, say this in a critical way, but, like, kind of, like, pushing one last breath out of a dying body before they actually end off this game. Like, essentially, I feel like this temple was just kind of thrown in there to, not to benefit the plot or anything, just to kind of give you a little bit of extra playtime. And, I don't know if that's being, like, harsh towards the game, but that's my honest opinion. Like, I don't think it's that, other than, like, Impa being one of the 6 sages and stuff, like, which even that they rushed. You guys saw in the last episode, we met up with Sheik, and she told us, like, Impa is one of the 6 sages. I believe she's went into the Shadow Temple to fucking heal the curse or whatever. And, like, even that, I think it felt a little bit rushed. Because, like, the other sages that we've met so far, obviously, we like, they already had characters behind them. Like, Saria, obviously, we knew her from our childhood. And, the fucking Princess Ruto or whatever, She was obviously like we met her all the way back in Jabu Jabu's belly, which was an earlier dungeon in the game. And the Darunia guy, he was one of the sages too. We had like literally a sworn brotherhood with him. So I don't know. Like I feel like just this last half of the game, it's feeling really rushed. And I'm starting to agree with some of the things my friend is saying, some of the things like some actual critical reviewers say, as in like critics would be the correct term. But yeah, I feel like this game, I really liked it in that first like half or so, and then it kind of, I wouldn't say it went downhill in like a upwards downwards motion. It just kind of went downhill in like an upwards, and then like slightly what's the word, like fucking diagonal, you know. Whereas with something like Skyward Sword per se, I feel like it goes like from really good to really bad. Whereas this game, it maintains that fucking like, this game maintains the good about it. It just rushes it and essentially stops focusing on the combination of story and gameplay, and then just focuses on story without worrying about the gameplay. So I don't know if that's the best way to explain it, but that's pretty much the best I can. So, like, whatever you guys think about the Shadow Temple, please just, let me know in the comments. Again, I don't think I'm liking it. It's not that hard, and it's not necessarily non-linear like the Water Temple was. Like, the Water Temple, I think, was probably really easy. Like, part of that was probably because I was using a guide, but the non-linearity about it, the backtracking back and forth about it, that's what I really enjoyed with it. It was just overall a really fun experience, and probably gonna end up being my favorite temple in the game. Visually, it was fucking amazing, just like about everything in this game, but just the idea of being underwater in a Zelda game, it's always just visually stunning to look at the water in like any Zelda game, really, especially when it comes to the Water Temple in Ocarina of Time, despite how what's the word, infamous it is. Despite how infamous it is. But yeah, guys, I believe we are coming up on the end of the episode pretty much as soon as we beat this guy here. Guy, girl, whatever the hell. It gives me girl vibes, really. Just because it looks like it's wearing a gown and walking with a hunchback. It gives me, like, fucking old, like, Cinderella's stepmom vibes or some shit, But yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy this episode. Definitely a little bit on the shorter side. Hopeful. I don't know, not necessarily hopefully. It doesn't really matter because we are close to the end of the game. But what I was going to say is, hopefully some of the future episodes are longer. Again, doesn't matter. We're pretty close to the end. So just leave a like and subscribe. Hopefully I get to end up finishing this Let's Play before I have to go camping, which I might not. Don't know. Doesn't matter to me. So, yeah. With that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please like, please subscribe. And I believe I did end it off as soon as I opened the chest here. So, and we got the hover boots. So, again, like and subscribe. That's going to be it for today's episode. And as soon as the dialogue's over, speed it up, please. And I guess not. Bye.